We will start the event. So online, again, on the Hopping platform, you can interact with the chat, with the different aspect, and we will look at the question you are asking. I don't know why I'm looking above when I'm talking online, right? It's not, it's like from the cloud, right? It's like, they're watching us. So the first, I'm really glad to have, we try to also give some overview, some higher view, right, on the topic. And for that, we're really glad to have invited David Mooter, Senior Analyst on API Strategy and Management at Forrester, will tell us a little bit of story about like building an API business platform, how we can go beyond IT. So I really hope you will enjoy the next 2 days. I hope you will enjoy the hybrid aspect right of it. And yes, let's have some cheers and some warm moment all together. So I will propose right before the keynote that everyone talk to their neighbors for just as an introduction, right? So that will be 2 mindful connections already, right? We can try that before the keynote? Yeah, sure. So please talk to your right neighbor, left neighbor, and just exchange whatever information, right? Not germs. Hi, David. Yeah, this. Okay. That's good. That's good enough. We will have breaks, we will have time for connecting, right? But it's just to give you an insight. So my only feedback for the next 2 days is be there, right? We are doing less events, so be there, stay there, like enjoy the moment, feel the community, and yes, thank you for being there. And now I'm really glad to let the stage to David, who will tell us his story with API. Thank you very much.
All right, do we have my slides loaded? All right, one moment. Well, while we're waiting on that, he was commenting on first-time speakers, trying to encourage people. I've done some speeches virtually. This is my first live speech in front of an audience. So I'm an example of a first-time speaker. Hopefully, I inspire some of you to come up here and present someday. Okay, that is not my slide on there.
First time technical issues, right?
Yes. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the middle one. David Mooter. Yeah, view only. Yeah, that looks good. Now if you can just get it up there. All right, well, let me back it up here. That is not my first slide. So, all right, welcome again to API Days. We talk about taking APIs beyond IT. In the past, APIs have largely been viewed as an IT concern, and that is a good starting point, but you must move beyond that. Now, to help illustrate this point, I'm going to draw an analogy. We're all here at a conference. All right. Let's build a conference center, but let's build it the IT way. All right, so how does that work? Your CEO sells a premier customer on a conference center. Your CIO designs for the customer's immediate needs using the fastest tools to build walls. Now, we know the needs of this immediate customer, and so the CFO, focusing on the immediate problem, budgets for fixed walls because movable walls are cheaper, and those fixed walls will meet the customer's needs. I'm sure you can guess how well this is going to work out. Now, the event was perfect, right? It perfectly met the customer's needs, making it very easy to sell a second customer. Now, what's the result of this? Next customer has different needs, and the walls must be torn down. Oh, now the clicker works. Great. I like to move around. Now, the CIO, presumably a good CIO, is focused on agile, DevOps, and all the best tools to rapidly tear down walls and rebuild them. They can do that faster than anybody on the market. But smarter competitors who focus on movable walls with the agility to reconfigure the business more rapidly take the market. Now, this is obviously a ridiculous way to build a conference center, yet this is how we build software. Why is that? Because of the wrong mindsets. CEOs who focus on near-term wins. CIOs who focus on technology enablers to build solutions. Now, that's important. That's your foundation, but that should not be your primary focus. CFOs who focus on narrow ROI measures. Now, at the end of this speech, I will present to you the correct mindset, so let's just kind of hold this thought on the wrong mindsets and dig into how we build software, build APIs the correct way, really how we build our business the right way. And I'd like to start by contrasting speed versus agility. This is a key point of why that conference center failed. Speed is going fast when you know your destination. Agility is going fast when you don't know your destination. In other words, the ability to rapidly change direction. That conference center was able to move towards its second customer as fast as possible. They could tear down walls and rebuild them faster than anybody else, right? But that second customer's needs maybe were not what they expected because the first customer was very different. They couldn't change directions. This is key. You think of the past couple years, shutdowns from the pandemic, inflation, supply chain disruption, energy shortages, war in Europe, and this has been insane. I could probably add more to that list by the end of this year, sadly. Organizations that can rapidly change directions have survived, if not thrived, in these times. Those that could not have suffered, and many are no longer with us. This is borne out in Forrester data. We run a survey every year. We ask this question: which of the following are true about the application architectures and strategies used by your enterprise? There are multiple boxes you can check. I'm only showing one answer here. And that is, as a general principle, we look for architecture, strategies, and designs that foster business agility over and above technical agility. Now, this data here, you see 11%. This is from 2020, and the key is not just 2020. This was Q1 of 2020. This is before everything was shutting down. I was at my last conference where I was live, I believe it was March, right here in New York, a week or two before everything shut down. So this is pre-pandemic mindset, 11%. Post-pandemic, 32%. 2022 data. And last year was about halfway between, so equal year-over-year growth. Organizations must be agile. And that implies we need an architecture, we in IT need an architecture to support that business agility. APIs are key for that. So what you see here are various strategic objectives of a hypothetical organization. Let's say it's a financial services org. And they have various business capabilities out there. In the past, maybe they're siloed, issue card, money transfer, and so forth. And we either refactor them into APIs, or maybe we're building them from scratch. That creates an enterprise platform that these objectives can plug into to advance themselves. Now, this model here is probably not new for a lot of people, but there's a very key but subtle point here. Raise your hand if you see the word application on this slide. For those at home, no hands are up. It is not the issue card and money transfer application. It is the issue card business capability, the money transfer business capability. That is the mindset you should have for your APIs. It reflects that the interface is what delivers value to your customers, not the application. Like so I'll pick on SAP, not bashing it, it's a great platform. Let's say you use SAP for order fulfillment. Do your customers care that you have an SAP API? No, they do not care. They care that you have an order fulfillment API. That should reflect how your business does order fulfillment. It should not reflect the SAP application or whatever other application you have behind it. For those who are technical, we call that a leaky abstraction. So that API that you design built to look like business capabilities. Common mistake is to say a business platform is a bunch of tech silos. We're going to focus on all the right tools, that wrong CIO mindset. We're going to do some cloud, we're going to get some SAP, some Drupal, data virtualization, whatever else, and that will be our platform. No. Start with business capabilities, and then what are the right tools to advance those? So as you're thinking about APIs in terms of business capabilities, you should also think beyond REST. Oops, forgot to advance that. So yeah, wrong platform. I could do a whole half-hour speech on the convergence of event-driven architecture and APIs, but just for brevity, just wanted to note that as organizations become digital, you're creating digital business. If digital for you just means REST, then the constraints of REST become the constraints on business possibilities. Don't ask the question, how do we make our business fit into REST? Ask the question, what is the right integration pattern to fit this business scenario? And there are many, and I don't like to say alternatives of REST, I'd say complements to REST that are out there, gRPC, GraphQL, event-driven architecture. From my perspective at Forrester, what I see with our clients, that event-driven architecture seems to have the highest demand as a complement to REST. How do we apply API management principles, all the things that we've learned over the years, how do we apply that to event-driven architecture? And there are some sessions, I believe, at this conference on EDA, for short. So check those out if that interests you. Now, with that in mind, if we're saying that APIs are an expression of your business, who should lead your API strategy? Should it be your CIO or some other IT leader that's delegated? No. Now, this may be the right place to start. If you're just getting your feet wet with APIs, you do need to build that IT competency. That may be a good place to start, but it's definitely not where you want to end. It should be the CEO, or more commonly, someone in the business organization that reports to CEO, a CTO, a product management lead, someone like that. But ideally, your CEO has some involvement in saying, we are going to become a digital business. Even if you're an insurance company. I come from insurance, so I don't mind saying a, quote, boring insurance company. I thought insurance was boring when I first joined my company. It's actually pretty exciting. We see this in our data as well. Unfortunately, we asked this for the first time this year, so I don't have historical trending data, but 37% of respondents in our survey this year said our API strategy is primarily driven by CEO, CTO, product management, or some other business leader. Over 1 in 3. It's smaller than I'd like it to be, but I think it's growing. Like I said, I don't have historical trending data, but based on inquiry trends, also service integrators I talk to, they see an acceleration in this viewpoint that APIs are a business concern. They see an acceleration the past year or two in this. And this approach works. I'll give a couple examples. Health insurance provider. They were able to do a maximum of 3 partner integrations a year. That's not much. And that was because IT was just slow. I'm sure many of you in IT hear this complaint. You're too slow. They had a single SOAP schema with 126 operations. Now, there's a technical term for this. So we got some non-technical people in the audience. The technical term for this is the big ball of mud. No one understands how it works. Every time you touch it, you break something. Your end users can't figure it out because it's too complicated. So they introduced an API product manager. This is someone who reports to the business. Usually they don't have an IT background, although sometimes they do. Usually they have a product management background that they apply to technology, and said, help us with this problem. Now, one of the things product managers do that we in IT don't do well is they can survey a market and identify what is the market need we're trying to fulfill, and how do we design a product that meets that need. And that's what this product manager did for this health insurance provider. This product manager found that 90% of the market needs could be met by only 10% of those operations, about 12, 13 of them, 12 to 13 operations. And so based on that, the product manager led a refactor so that the core 90% was one API, and all of those other operations that only 10% of their clients needed were separate add-on APIs that 90% of their customers could ignore. This resulted in 42 partner integrations the next year and hundreds of millions of dollars in new revenue. Raise your hand if you don't want hundreds of millions of dollars in new revenue, right? So again, no hands going up. Because they brought in a business mindset to their API design. Second example, agricultural retailer. Started out doing an IT-led, project-centric approach. Every new partner required 3 to 4 months of writing a new API. Again, bring in API product managers, say, can you help figure out what does the market need and create an API product that meets that need? Result, onboarding was reduced 2 to 3 weeks with no need for IT to write specialized code per partner. Awesome results. Now, there's more to it than just this. This is just the tip of the iceberg. APIs, when you take this mindset, fundamentally changes how you do business strategy. Traditional business strategy starts out with, what are we? We are Widget Corp. We make widgets. Okay, well, who are the customers that want to buy widgets? What are the channels to help us access those customers, the partners to access those channels? At this point, you largely have a business design for the most part, and then you look at how do we make this business design efficient? What are the processes? Where can IT help automate things? With what we call open business strategy, API-led business strategy, it starts by asking, what are we good at? What are our competencies that we're going to expose digitally, that we're going to express via an API, a REST API, or perhaps an event stream, maybe GraphQL, but usually REST or event streams. What are ecosystems that can benefit from those competencies? And I won't go into the whole details, but we have this model of relationships that connect to which ecosystems, which relationships connect to which competencies, and this becomes leverage to expand into new markets. Now, this is very abstract, so let me make it concrete. Oh, before I make it concrete, key point here. Business design for agility and integration happens at the end in traditional business design, and it happens at the beginning in this open business design. IT and business working together to drive business strategy. IT becoming, or moving from an efficiency cost center to a top-line revenue generator. And some might say that architecture and business strategy become the same conversation. Okay, now let's make this concrete. Like I said, I come from insurance, so I like insurance examples. Telematics, for those of you who are not familiar, that is data from a vehicle. It might come from the vehicle's computer or a device you plug in. You may have seen some famous ad icon who advertises a thing you can plug into your car, or a mobile app. Tracks things like, are you slamming on the brakes too hard, or the gas, or are you making sharp turns, or things like that. And if it finds you're a very safe driver, we can give you a huge discount. I signed up for this. I think I got like an 18% discount. I became a loyal customer for many years. I bundled my home and auto. It's great for them. Great for me, too. Or maybe a surcharge because we see you're a terrible driver. That happens sometimes. This is great. I don't want to bash that, but it is not. It's a little bit narrow. We can go bigger than this. What if we think about it in terms of, instead of how do we sell more insurance to more people, we think of it as we build a driver risk assessment competency. We know how to assess driver risk really, really well. Okay? Where can we use this competency? We can use it internally to do better rate segmentation and sell more insurance to more people, so that's still on the table. But I bet Uber and Lyft would like to know which of their drivers are risky drivers so they can drop them from the program before they kill someone and get Uber or Lyft in the news headlines. Commercial fleets, where the drivers are employees instead of freelancers, a little bit different situation. Maybe they want to know which of their drivers are risky drivers so that they can do remedial action, driver safety training as targeted to specific behaviors, maybe eventually fire a driver if they don't improve. City governments probably want to know where are risky behaviors occurring so we can police better or change signage or infrastructure before someone gets killed. So I just listed off 3 examples that are not selling more insurance to more people. It's opening opportunities to expand into new ecosystems. That mindset opens many more doors than a traditional mindset and is made possible via APIs as a business concern. I mentioned expanding into new ecosystems. You can look at 4 different approaches to ecosystems. Your ecosystem would be using telematics to segment insurance better. That's my ecosystem. New adjacent ecosystems would be like the government example I mentioned, or Uber, Lyft, and so forth. Customers ecosystem. My customers, as an auto insurance company, my customers get auto loans. Well, those auto lenders want to verify insurance. Maybe I can automate that process to reduce their operational overhead and produce better customer experience for those lenders, and I can monetize that. So that's my customers' ecosystems. And partner ecosystems, I'll have an example later, but this company has a product that is somewhat incomplete. I have a product that's somewhat incomplete. We put the 2 together. We've got a better joint product. And this works. Examples of success. Permata Bank. This is a bank in Indonesia. Don't quote me on this. If I remember correctly, the majority of the residents there are unbanked. That's a tough environment for a bank to be operating in. They digitized their banking capabilities, and then fintech companies moved into Indonesia to do various apps. I don't remember exactly what they were, so again, don't quote me on it, but I believe it was things like mobile payments for, let's say, a vendor on the side of the road, or micro-lending, things like that. And these fintechs, they don't want to build the banking capability because that's highly regulated, that's complex. We could just buy that from Permata Bank. They had something like triple-digit growth in new accounts for multiple years as a result. And CyberSource, a subsidiary of Visa, they're injecting payments in the places where they have not historically been. And I love this quote when I talked to them. They said, instead of swiping credit cards more, it's looking for who benefits from our payments competencies. That's the mindset you need. That's what opens doors like I gave earlier with the telematics example. Nationwide insurance. So I came from insurance. I was the architect, domain architect for our integration department. A big part of that was APIs. And I was watching the insurance industry. Who out there has a public developer portal? And for a while, Nationwide was the only one I could see. There might be others, but as far as I'm aware, they were first to market. And now several companies have them, past year or 2. But they are embedding insurance into Ford and Toyota's products. They embed Medicare into the National Council on Aging's retirement planning tools. That's that partnership ecosystem. The NCOA has retirement planning. They don't have Medicare features in there. Nationwide has Medicare capabilities, but not maybe the full-blown retirement planning of NCOA. Put the 2 together, you have a product that is more powerful than they are in isolation. And they also automate insurance verification for lenders, as I alluded to in the previous slide. Screenshot of their portal. But I love this quote. That's why I want to share this here. We've built a connected ecosystem of capabilities to support strategic partnerships and publicly available digital products powered by APIs. So keyword, digital products powered by APIs. That's not an IT mindset. That is a business mindset. This partner platform has already enabled the launch of 50+ partnerships. Now, how do we make this happen? Current innovation model is siloed and sequential. First, you create a business idea, change the business strategy design, create software requirements you're going to toss over to IT. So what I'm trying to convey here is the hollow building, that's an office, if any of you remember what that was. I haven't seen an office in over 2 years. I actually kind of like it. And the green represents the new business design, that we've evolved that business. So then we hand it over to IT. So laptop represents tech, and you change the software to reflect that. The new innovation model is to fuse tech possibilities into your business ideation. So what I'm trying to convey here is you've got the building and the laptop, like the office or the business and IT, converge together, the laptop and building together. That's the fusion of IT technology with business. And then you evolve it iteratively into reality. And the key here is business and tech teams co-create and continuously improve. Co-create. I have seen API teams that do not report to IT. They report to a business product team. And some of them say that is the better design. I don't have hard data to say if I have an opinion on that. I can say it's out there, and those that do it oftentimes say that's better than having IT be the owner of the API developers. Funding. You need seed money to underpin an API platform. You need to invest in API management, governance, Center for Enablement, portfolio management perhaps. And again, iterative business change. Each business change, or many of them, maybe not every single one, will have to enhance this. And then some of these ROIs might be a little not the best, because if you're just looking at short term, right, it's not always the best, because this is building something for the future. That initial platform you build is going to benefit every API you do. So if you just look at the ROI for your first API, that might be kind of expensive. Or you've got your platform out there, you've got your platform team, API management, you've got your governance out there, Center for Enablement, and so forth. But we've just been doing internal APIs, which external APIs really are the ones that provide the most value. But you're starting, start something manageable. Start with internal APIs. As we progress to external, we have to enhance our developer portal. An internal portal is usually not suitable for external. That effort will need to invest in that and build that. As you grow to scale, governance may become unmanageable. You may need to federate governance and automate governance. And that means that a business change at a certain point, when you're reaching a tipping point, must invest back into your API platform for automation of governance. And those who have your purse strings need to understand that. So reframing this, the new innovation model. Design is modular business design, software-based building blocks. Build is blended business technology teams working hand in hand to design new business possibilities enabled by tech. Finance, agile finance, that what I was just describing in the previous slide. And leadership is CEO-driven software competency. Now, at the opening of this, I mentioned the 3 wrong mindsets. So what are the correct mindsets? Now that you all have a sense of what it means to take APIs beyond IT. Correct mindset, CEOs who think of long-term ecosystem possibilities. CIOs who consider architectural models to deliver flexibility for ongoing disruptive change. Now, the wrong mindset was a focus on tools and so forth. This is the correct mindset, because then after you've got your architecture figured out, the next question is, what are the best tools to support that? So tools are important, but you want to start with the architecture, with architecture aligning towards that flexible business change. And finally, CFOs who plan for a stream of portfolio investments in the platform and its architecture. So with that, I'll conclude this talk. If you are not a Forrester client, so most of my stuff's behind the Forrester paywall. If you are a client, I'd be happy to talk to you. But if you're not, I do have a few blogs. There's a QR code, a link there. I don't have a lot of blogs, but there are a couple out there that will expand on some of my thoughts on going beyond REST, API product management. I will probably publish one in a month or two about API governance as well. So with that, I will hand it over to my host. So thank you.
What? Yep. Yeah, so David, please, we will do some migration on chairs on the stage, but for waiting for that time, yeah, let's take 1 or 2 questions from the audience, right? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Do you have, one first question here.
Hope you can hear me through my mask. My first question is, as a developer and an implementer, it kind of rankles me when things have to come top down, because when they come top down, the top may not even know. And so you're trying to say that the CEO has to develop the API strategy. So maybe I don't understand what you mean by API strategy. So can you explain to me why the CEO needs to do that?
Yeah, so the CEO being hands-on directing it is probably not going to be the case, but I'll give an example. One insurance company I spoke to, their board of directors and CEO is saying, we need to become a digital company. We need digital products. Okay, product management team, you are now accountable for building digital products, working in collaboration with IT. Now, you mentioned top-down. When business just makes demands in IT without understanding the impact, it will fail. That's why it's, I think one of the words I had on there was IT and business co-creating. IT and business are partners. Business comes up with the business ideas. IT is helping them understand what IT can do and, more importantly, what it cannot do. When I was an architect at my previous employer, most of my conversations were why we can't do that. And when business understands what are the abilities and limitations of IT, or maybe you have a limitation, but here's what it takes to overcome that. If we invest in X, Y, Z, we can overcome that limitation, and here's how much it costs. then you are empowering your business partners to design digital products via APIs. Is that, you're nodding your head, so it sounds like answered your question. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. So you've seen the migration, the load balancing live, right?